Mashane politically incorrect. I thought, let me, after having done a piece on Kganki, I thought, let me speak to the young man. Let me speak to Mphahlele, just to hear what does he say. I think I understand where his brains are. I understand where his politics are. I just want to have him explain himself, because I might be wrong. So I've decided to reach out to him, so I can also allow you to hear the young man, just so we share what what we commonly believe of him. Let's see if we get hold of him. Raloch.
Sure.
Le kae?
Rawona darling, no?
Rona, ke Kganki Mphahlele.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for allowing us to podcast your thoughts. I don't even know where to start, so I'm caught between going full Monty so we could understand who are you, your politics and everything, but I'm also tempted to understand because you are rejecting the expulsion statement, and you are also saying you don't think it was done in a proper way. So, and that could be me misrepresenting you. So I don't know where you want to start, but maybe let's rather start explaining to our audience or from Political Incorrect.
Okay, no, thanks very much, comrades and the listeners and everyone else. Thanks for having us on Political Incorrect podcast. The name is simple. It's Kganki Mphahlele, a young boy from the rural village of Mphahlele in Limpopo, who is a student at the University of Limpopo and was an EFFSC card-carrying member in the University of Limpopo's campus branch, or the EFF Students Command branch. So, our politics are very simple, are consistent and principled. Our politics are simply agreeing with especially the preamble of the EFF. If you read the EFF Founding Manifesto, if you read the constitution of the EFF Students Command, which characterizes itself as a Marxist-Leninist Fanonian organization, we are Marxist-Leninist and Fanonian in approach. We are anti-capitalistic, we are anti-imperialistic, and we are anti-colonialism and neo-colonialism, and all those right-wing things. So, and we are very, very genuine in nature. I'm saying this because of the fact that I know you're going to ask about our expulsion and other things. We are very, very genuine in nature. That is to say, we don't simply change tune for some reasons. We can't be bought by money to simply rally behind a certain view. We can't be bought by fame or popularity to rally behind certain views. This is to say, unlike people like our Trevor Noah, if America calls me right now, says we're going to give you 5 million, go and insult a certain body, like he did with President Zuma, we are not going to do something like that. We are very principled and consistent in approach. So that is in some terms who we are.
Okay, look, man, I for the past few days, maybe since the passing of Pravin, I've been consuming your content, and fascinating in how you do modern political and especially the radical form of your approach. And amongst other things, I've seen that you have posted your picture in the ballot box. So you are not afraid to shy away from rules laid down by authority.
My picture in the ballot box, what do you mean?
I saw a picture with you holding, what is this? I'll tell you now. Your ID with 3 ballot boxes, with 3 ballot papers inside a voting booth. Was it you?
Absolutely, it was me. Don't regret doing that, by the way, but let me just remove it on social media.
Okay, all right, sharp. I'm sorry, let me take care of this little headlock. while we are on it. Thank you. So you do recognize that is it an error of judgment or was it deliberate?
No, us posting that thing is because of, there were people who were characterizing when we remained firm and when we disagreed with the leadership of the party, people said we are insulting leadership simply because we are disagreeing. So we wanted to tell them, Chief, we are not MK agents because they called us MK party agents. We are members in good standing who voted for the EFF, all the 3 ballots of the national elections.
Well, okay, so continue.
So if you can't judge us very harshly without even knowing what we stand for and how firm we are, because even before President Zuma announced the party, we have always agreed with politics of President Zuma. But when President Zuma launched the MK party, and by the way, I voted at 11, very, very late, around 11, and I saw how the polls were that day. If I was opportunistic, I could have just voted for the MK party, but we chose to be principled, card-carrying members and loyal members of the EFF. So we voted for the party. That was the reason why we posted that thing, because there were some people who were characterizing us as MK party agent.
Thank you very much, because that's exactly what I wanted to go to say. Were you proving to people, because there are certain allegations, and I've spoken about it on my podcast, to say Floyd having joined MK, others are even alleging him that he was not as loyal. He could have even voted MK in the box, and you have just proven that you were not, and it took you from having risking it all to just to prove to people that you are loyal. So can you just explain to me, have you accepted your expulsion?
Conditions dictate that I accept it, even though it was just unconstitutional, because we made it clear on the statement that we released to say in all the 3 documents of the EFF Students Command, the Constitution, the Code of Revolutionary Conduct, and the Deployment Policy, there is no way if an official or the officials, the CSCT, which is the central structure of the Student Command, there is no way whereby they have powers to expel. They can convene a disciplinary committee, a central students disciplinary committee, and if they think this member must be expelled, they recommend it to the EFF, because their headquarters are at Winnie Mandela, same where the headquarters of the EFF are. So this thing can be done efficiently. If they want to expel someone, they convene a DC, that person comes, they charge the person, and recommend to the EFF for an expulsion. The EFF is the one that decides to say we're expelling. So those comrades expelled me, and I've got intel that they were mandated to do so, because for obvious things. The commander-in-chief retweeted something, a post that said I must be tracked down to my branch, looked into, and then made sure, comrades must make sure that I see the NPA only on TV. So this should tell you that I'm already identified by the leadership as a rogue element in the party. So this is why I'm not going to appeal the expulsion, because it's like I'm forcing myself where I'm not belonging. Because first of all, how do you say you are expelling me simply because I differ with you as a party leader? Never put down with me and other things. You just take it to say expel him. You even send structures that don't even have powers to legitimately expel.
Do you take offense to yourself being called this thing in that specific tweet you're speaking about?
Being called what?
A thing.
Those ones don't matter. That's how comrades speak. Hey, that thing, you see that thing, that's how they speak. So, especially when that's how they politic nowadays, because they think insulting people and then degenerating their status can make them claim revolutionary credentials, which is not the truth. So, our politics have always been consistent. We were people who were saying the EFF, especially the Students' Command, must be it must be a breeding ground for the EFF, and by the nature of that, we must have political education classes centrally that are 24-hour open, much like the O.R. Tambo School of Leadership thing of the ANC, but they must happen live, not through online, because people can just write for each other. So that's why you have fighters characterizing us as things. That's how they politic, and it's it's only political education that can save them. But Tina, we don't take offense in such things because we know we joined the political space when it was just like that.
Any element of I don't even know what to say in English, swearing or cussing that you think you would have done, that you think you are blameworthy on? In other words, we born a posho mokai amongst the whole thing.
Everything.
We born a posho on everything.
No. I mean, you are asking on everything.
Yes, on everything. Especially during this debacle of you being characterized as being an opposition to the CIC and having waged a challenge.
I regret nothing. Because, you can't, as a party leader, be an opportunist. The MPA guidelines were very clear to say, comrades, we are going to an assembly, and we know how robust things can get and how people insult each other when we go to social media. Let's not go to social media, let's campaign at branches. We went to our branches. The ward that I belong to supports Commissioner Buyo Ndlozi for deputy president. People are supporting Godrich for certain positions. So now, if you say we must be disciplined, we must not take this to social media, people who go around posting Godrich Kganki, and then what you do is that you, as the commander-in-chief, you retweet that thing. It's an endorsement. You are endorsing Godrich, and you are saying, as an influential figure in the party, we must take it that way. So this is why we went very, very firm and robust. We were even aggressive to say the commander-in-chief must not test us. He must not try to impose Godrich on us. As branches were saying, Buyo must be the deputy president. And if he's going to behave like this, then he must know that he's starting a war with branches. And war is a very difficult thing. We know that.
So the podcast that I made before I contacted you, I spoke of you as a reincarnation of Julius Malema himself, because me coming from Limpopo, I've seen Julius operating before he hit national politics. Do you find it as an offense? Do you find it as a mere comparison, or are you flattered by that?
You're saying what?
I compare you with Julius Malema to an extent that I even use the word reincarnation of Julius Malema. Do you take offense of that?
I don't take offense because I know about the rightful characteristics that you're talking about. Because even last night after that thing, that saga, I posted the picture of the commander-in-chief wearing the regalia of the ANC Youth League when he was still the president, to simply say, comrades, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that it's not that I'm not disrespecting the leadership. I'm just saying this is the type of Julius Malema that we miss. How robust he was when he was the president of the Youth League, not these things that we see now.
So the Julius of the past. So I have
a revolutionary.
Yeah. So
revolutionary par excellence.
My characterization of yourself being so akin to him that I even veer into reincarnation, it's accurate.
Yeah, there is some level of accuracy in it. Given that you just said reincarnation, they will ask which one.
Oh, so you want to make it clear that the Julius Malema of the ANC Youth League, robust, revolutionary, and unforgiving. So that's what you are now.
Uncompromising, not unforgiving.
Okay, uncompromising. But what is it about Dr. Ndlozi that you think is exemplary? Just tell us, just sell the men to us who we don't know in political cycles.
Commissioner Dr. Buyo Ndlozi.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, in politics, before we answer the question of who must lead, we must also answer the one of who must not lead. That's number one. So we don't want, and I said this when I posted, I made a long post on Facebook to say, I don't want to say who must not lead because I don't want to be characterized as someone who's divisive and everything. But what I said is that on the question of the deputy president of the third NPA between Commissioner Godrich Kganki, Commissioner Vuyo Pampo, and Commissioner Buyo Ndlozi, they are indeed standing. My honest take as an EFF member from Limpopo and as the Minister of Limpopo, affiliated EFFSC member who understand EFFSC and EFF dynamics even outside my own province, I'm going to simply say who must be the deputy president. I'm not going to answer who must not be, so that my mischaracterization is not reduced to criticism and insult to the leadership. So I personally support Buyo Ndlozi as the deputy president of the EFF, just like my branch is doing so. And some of the reasons are because Dr. Buyo Ndlozi built branches in Limpopo. We must remember in 2022, Commissar Josie Butani, who is now in the ANC, who was the provincial chairperson of the EFF at that time, was disbanded early in 2022. And it was Commissar Buyo Ndlozi who was deployed as the convener of deployees in Limpopo. The man came, he built branches. He did not stop there, he even went to Gauteng to build those branches, for example. And since 2019, he was the head of political education in the CCT, which is the central structure of the EFF top brass. As the head of political education, he equally equipped the grassroots of the party with some political consciousness while building those branches in the trenches with the rank and file of the party. Another reason is that this Commissar Buyo is equally agitated a lot of students during the EFFSC Chelatu Baralis ahead of the SRC elections. So he, in layman's terms, he made the masses, the students, the youth, who are the most ignorant people, to vote for the EFFSC. And this should also translate to what? To those students registering to vote and voting for the EFF in the national and the provincial elections held on the 9th of May earlier this year. So, on those majority of the EFFSC Chelatu Baralis, Chelatu Baralis is a rally that is held before elections. So if it's for EFFSC, it's before SRC elections, of course. So in those rallies, the Revolutionary Students Vanguard movement of the EFFSC won the SRC elections by a landslide victory. And on the other hand, the outgoing political education officer, he's a seasoned cadre, he's a seasoned product of the ground. If he can go to rural Limpopo, rural KZN and rural Gauteng to build branches, he speaks fluent and robust Marxism-Leninism, and we saw this well through the political schools that he conducted and coordinated throughout his term. We must remember that during COVID-19 pandemic, activities were paused. So, as the head of political education, he was part of those few who went to YouTube to deliver political education sessions through some book clubs and other things. So, he also held a political education workshop held in Gauteng on the 24th to the 26th of March last year at Johannesburg's Emperor's Palace, with some provincial, regional and branch leaders present there. So in simple terms, this was a national political education induction, much like the Chinese Communist Party's Central Party School. Their program of young people, a program that young people in the EFF suggested ever since 2019, to say in the National Students' Assembly, to say there must be political education in branches all over, overseen by the EFF Students' Command, Research Policy and Political Education Commissar. And by the way, this is the very same conference that I posted to say a person who suggested this idea is Comrade Kganki, whom young people all over the country supported to be the president of the Students' Command. He was expelled, and his case was worse than mine, because he was not even sent a letter. He was expelled on TV, and later on the president of the Students' Command at that time was mandated to go and make a public pronouncement to say he's not a member. So he was purged. And by the way, Buyo makes a perfect match to be the deputy president, according to me, given the fact that there is a lot of theoretical work centralized to be the deputy president as per the job description of our constitution. The good doctor, he holds a sociology PhD, and which is perfect for the job description in a manner that sociology studies people for a living, of course, and so does Dr. Buyo. In section 14 of the party of the constitution of the EFF speaks about representing the party on national and domestic forum, international and domestic forum. So in this case, it's why we support this PhD in sociology to go and be represent the party in such instances. Sociologists studies and relate well with the world, just like section 14 speaks again to say the EFF deputy president must be responsible for governance, And people who study people for a living will surely know how to coordinate governance policies of the EFF. So this is why we started with Commissar Dr. Ndlozi as the incoming deputy president of the EFF. He's a powerhouse of talent, he's fit, he's capable and equal to the task to be the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief of the EFF. That's our position on supporting Mbuyiseni. We're not going to speak on why we're not supporting Commissar Godrich or Commissar Vianney if he's also standing, because we don't want to be seen as insulting people, but one reason alone, we as young people, we prized Goba. Goba was our most prized asset, and he was the Secretary General when Goba got expelled, and he was implicated in the expulsion for reasons that I don't want to disclose.
Sihle Lonzi says, he tweets that if Ndlozi is disciplined, and I'm not quoting him verbatim, if he's disciplined, he would in a way rebut or distance himself from yourselves. What's your feeling about what Sihle said?
Sihle Lonzi has been lobbied to support Godrich Gadi, so he's simply endorsing sponsored view, and what he's saying is that like you know how MK party has been characterized, a party of corrupt fellows, those of state capture, those who looted SARS and everything. So now they are trying to characterize us as rogue elements who are simply pronouncing Mbuyiseni for divisive reasons. So, and in that case, they want him to speak out loud so that he can concede to kind of, I don't know, concede to his campaign.
You speak in plural terms. You always refer to us. Is that a virtue of respect, being that umupedi, or you are thinking it's not only you who are singled out and other people, and you belong to a clique that you think you are being targeted? I'm just trying to find. You always refer as us.
It's a three-way street. You know, when I joined the politics, I learned about what we call collective leadership. The principles of the Students' Command in the Constitution in Section 7, they tell us about collective leadership, and in that case, they say we must work we must be able to cooperate with the people that we share political space with. We must never act in silos. So when I say us, I'm saying it in a case that, first of all, as an individual, secondly, as a member of a group who holds the view that Commissar Mbuyiseni must be the deputy president. And I can tell you for free, when it comes to the campaign of Commissar Mbuyiseni, I'm not doing it for divisive reasons. I'm genuine about this thing. If the EFF wants to save itself, I equally posted yesterday to say the future of the EFF is going to be determined by the inclusion or the exclusion of Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi in the third NPA. So us is to simply say myself, number two, a man who belongs to a group who are holding a certain view, and surely is not on this one of saying targeted. I'm not saying us as part of the targeted people. Of course, there are people who are going to be pegged. They know it already. If I'm being pegged like this, there are people who are also going to be pegged. But us is not to characterize myself as a group of those who will be pegged. It's simply those who hold a view that Commissar Mbuyiseni must be the deputy president, and one apologetic about it. And if you do a scientific research, because our politics are very scientific in approach, you will see that the people in their majority who are saying Commissar Mbuyiseni must rise are those who belong to the EFF Students' Command, are those who belong to branches who graduated from the Students' Command, because they know what happened when Commissar Godrich Gadi was the Secretary General. I'm not trying to campaign him with criticism and all those things, but I made the Goba issue, which is a public issue, as a perfect example. So that's the us.
Let's start here. You retweeted by rebutting and distancing yourself and calling out propaganda that seeks to link you with MK. Any further inputs on that?
Absolutely. Comrades from the ANC, comrades from the MK party, comrades from the SACP, and comrades from the DA have reached out to us. So that thing was posted by a certain friend of mine who left the EFF Students Command. And he just assumed that with the way he loves President Zuma and his politics is that the EFF expelled him, and he confirmed on his public statement that he's not going to appeal the thing. It means he's going to come and join the MK. So it's just propaganda that is trying to do things on some social media. I didn't join. I'm not affiliated to any party right now. Comrades are engaging us first of all, so we will see what's up. We'll see how we are engaged first of all, because the truth of the matter is that we take ourselves very, very serious. We are assets in this movement, in this revolution. So we are not going to be engaged like kids who don't know what is going on. We expect to be engaged very well, and we expect to be utilized very well, not to be used. And that utilized must not be mistaken of used. We must be utilized very well according to our abilities and capabilities. That's what Marxism is in simple terms, from each according to his ability to each according to his needs or the work performed. So that's what's up. That's on the MK question. We're not affiliated to the MK party, but MK party, just like the ANC and the SACP and the DA, and they are the parties that have reached out so far. Others are going to reach out, I can tell you.
All right. So, so Jacob Zuma has assassinated politically a person of Julius Malema in your stature. A bomb like you, he has assassinated until it was rejuvenated somewhere and resuscitated in the form of EFF. Jacob Zuma has silenced someone that he has once assassinated in the Feast Must Fall movement. President Jacob Zuma is responsible, with Cyril Ramaphosa of course, to killing the EFF clique of economic freedom fighters from Nazareth. So what I'm trying to say in other words is, you are someone that Jacob Zuma does not like. If you consider joining MK, would you want to put that at the back of your mind?
I think I don't know, because I don't know what I'll join next, but on the other hand, I'm a fan of the politics of President Zuma, and I've read the constitution of the MK party. I understand the issue of elective conferences not being there and other things, but I think, like I've said, I must be utilized very well. The comrades can always find each other. It's like with the SACP, and I don't agree with the politics of Blade and Zuma, and the ANC, or vice versa. I don't agree with the politics of Ramaphosa, and it's right, it's correctly being called the ANC of Ramaphosa, just like the DA. The DA, I'm not going to join it. That one is obvious. That would be counter-revolutionary. So far, we'll just see what's up. And that's that. On the question of President Zuma, I think, what do I think? I think whether I join the MK party, whether I join the SACP or the ANC, we can always find each other as comrades. Because, let's give an example. Comrade Floyd is someone who says we've been wrongfully mobilized against President Zuma. And it's true, by the way. That thing was not supposed to happen. If you are saying you are a revolutionary party and another revolutionary is being attacked, you must not be opportunistic and say it's going to be our own spiraling to the top. The revolution must always be defended. So, President Zuma, I think to sit down with him and speak with him, just like to sit down with Cyril, I'm not going to sit down with him, to sit down with a revolutionary like Banyaza, we can always tell him, Banyaza, you are the chairperson of the province. We know the ANC is led by Cyril. We don't agree with it. But let's see how we can find each other.
I hate asking preemptive questions, about the future and everything. it's almost like asking what would Steve Biko and Hani do if they were now. But if
good question.
if you find yourself in MK, I know you're not there. If you find yourself inside MK, and I really hate putting yourself on the spot, like I just said, but if you find yourself in MK, do you think you are going to be expected to tone down or continue your radicalism in challenging authority and speaking truth to power?
I don't think I'll have problems with the leadership, because so far people who are I saw some fights in MK, the youth league. There are people who opportunistically wanted to lead the party. That's why they say, the youth league, they say the age must be increased to 35. Some are saying 40, so that they can fit in. So myself, I don't think I'm not. First of all, I'm not going to tone down, and I'll always defend the revolution, which is something that President Zuma wants and others want. Now look how I'm clashing with the EFF. It's about a conference issue. It's about that, a conference issue, an elective conference issue. And by the way, in the EFF there is a conference, and if there are clashes like that, someone can correctly say EFF conferences are just PR stunts. So me having to reduce, I'm not going to reduce, comrades. I'm not going to reduce, and not to get too ahead of myself. I think. I'm not even going to threaten the interest of everyone, the revolutionary interest, by the way, not the opportunistic interest, because one thing that I'm prioritizing right now is political education. So if I'm someone who's correctly utilized to say, Chief, be the head of political education here, I speak Marxism, Leninism, I speak revolutionary politics, and I know what they are. I'm not going to offend anyone. President Zuma is not a perfect man, and we are people who said his first term was like the term of Thabo Mbeki. That's what we said. And in Mbeki, we don't agree with him. So we don't agree with everything President Zuma did, by the way. We don't. So people must not think that we see President Zuma as this holy figure. Yes, we love him, he's our Qaeda, he's our force, and we identify with him. But he's perfect, but that does not be reduced into saying we are going to fight him should we join the MK.
I normally do this at the beginning of the show. Like you say, I told you at the beginning that I'm tempted to hear more of you because I love your politics. Maybe before I give you these icebreakers, because they must come in front, do you promise if you find yourself in Gauteng, you'll make some time to come and share your politics in our studio?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to give you names randomly out of my head, and then you tell me which one. So you take one among the ones that I'm giving you.
Sure.
The first one, let me make it a bit difficult. Andile Mqithama or Panyaza Lesufi?
At the level of ideas, I'll go with Andile, comrades. But we love what Panyaza is doing now. Or on the other hand, at the level of ideas, because my politics are principled. I don't sell out principle. Panyaza has had flaws before, so we are going to go for with Andile.
Okay. Chris Hani or Stephen Bantu Biko?
Chief, we go with Utata Uchonyani Bantu. I mean Chris, comrade Chris.
Okay.
Biko was a revolutionary, by the way, but we go with comrade Chris.
So Bukwe or Artambo?
Let's go with Mangaliso. Let's spend with the land question robustly so.
Sharpmo Africa, and then Mandela or Winnie Mandela. This is the first time I'm using this one.
Winnie.
All the time.
One apologetic.
No, okay.
No, Nelson was part of the people who patched Winnie. We must remember. The accidental elevation of President Zuma, being the deputy president and ultimately the president of the ANC, it was plotted by Thabo Mbeki and Nelson Mandela because they didn't want Winnie, and they used excuses like this must not be a Xhosa party. You can't have a president and a deputy, and the outgoing president being Xhosa. we must accommodate the Zulu faction. Those were their reasons, but they didn't want the late the win.
I'm tempted to ask you when Mbeki refused Winnie's consultation in conference when her name was read from the floor, but I'm tempted. I'm not gonna do it. When you come to the studio, we'll do it.
You say what?
I'm tempted to want you to comment on the instance when Mbeki refused to give Winnie a chance to consult branches during conference. But I know if you expand on it, it will take us longer. So let me continue. Patrice Lumumba or Thomas Sankara?
I think let's go with Comrade Sankara, given the Sankara oath. There's something called the Sankara oath, reducing public benefits for public servants using public services. That's what we call the Sankara oath. Saying a president, he was a military captain, by the way, saying as a president, I must earn the salary of a military captain. The Minister of Education must earn the salary of a minister. So Sankara, comrades. But we do agree with Lumumba and how robustly he fought colonialism.
Okay. Bobby Wine of Uganda or Traore of a Burkinabe, reincarnation of Thomas Sankara? Which one are you taking?
This one is not difficult. we go with Comrade Traore. We go with Ibrahim.
Joshua Nkomo or Samora Machel?
It's obvious. It's Samora also.
Okay. This one. Morgan Changarai or Robert Mugabe?
We agree. We posted Bob not so long ago. We agree with Bob a lot.
Okay.
President Mugabe.
Okay. Let's go maybe up north. Let's see who is seeing there. Okay, Jomo Kenyatta or Kwame Nkrumah?
Comrade Nkrumah, the high priest of Pan-Africanism.
Okay. Now this one is a curveball to end it. Sure. Helen Zille or Donald Trump?
You know what kind of phenomenon is this? It's like when President Lula of Brazil came from prison.
Mm-hmm.
There were some of the white left wingers in South Africa and in the world. Let's say in South Africa, in simple terms, they know President Lula and President Zuma share a relationship. They were trying to celebrate the victories of Lula while ignoring President Zuma, to say, but these comrades are treated the same way. They went on to be champions of the working class when the system patched them, imprisoned them. Now they want to celebrate Lula while excluding President Zuma. So in this case, to ignore, I can't choose. At the level of ideas, I can't choose anyone. I must reject both Helen Zille and Donald Trump, just like I must reject both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Do you want to know why we must reject both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris?
No.
They are two sides of the same coin. In this case, whether we say Donald Trump or Kamala must be president of the United States, they are still going to support Israel over Palestine. They are still going to continue exploiting the children in the DRC. They are still going to plan military coups in Latin America. By the way, 2 days ago, former president of Bolivia, President Evo Morales, survived an assassination attempt, 12 to 14 bullets. And it has to do with the CIA. The CIA is led by the faction of Kamala Harris, Abu Biden. And if it was led by Trump, it was still going to call for the same thing. Whether we support Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, they are still going to exploit the people of Venezuela with their oil and President Maduro. So we reject them both.
Allow me to end the podcast. Go for a parting shot. Anything that you think I've not asked you that you want to deliver and deposit to your followers, your ex-followers, and anything in particular in closing.
Yeah, advice to young people especially is to avoid drugs and alcohol, and we must focus on deepening political education is the best way to cater development.
Leadership Raleboga. Thank you. I meant it to be a short one. Well, I mean, I can't stop myself from listening to young brains when they speak. I told you before, I have a great affinity to young men speaking pro-African issues. Well, he's not like me. I'm older. I'm cowardized. He's young. He's brave. In fact, he says, and I'm not quoting him directly, I don't know who he's quoting. He says being young and not biologically wanting a revolution, it's a biological contradiction, something of that sort. Martian political incorrect. I hope you listen to the man. I hope now you have got an idea of what he is. South Africa is going to, let's hope, South Africa is going to enjoy a man like him. I still say, like I said in the other podcast, I believe Julius Malema made a right move by getting rid of him. I had the privilege of speaking to Andile Mcitama when he was leaving the EFF, but he was not going to MK because it was at that time Zuma was still head of the ANC, just to talk to him, and I understand. But what I still say is Julius Malema made the right move, and it's still, and I believe MK, Zuma would make the same move that Julius has made if this young man goes to MK. I made a lot of bets, I made a lot of gamble, I predict stuff so we could check each other out. I said Floyd will have a difficult time at MK, and they will not confirm, but he is having a difficult time because it does not have structures. I particularly asked him what kind of politics will he champion inside MK, and he said he's not going to stop, so he'll continue doing what he's doing. And I must tell you, it's going to be very difficult for him to operate in MK, because that's exactly what Bonkosi Kanyile was silenced. Where is he going to emerge? I do not know. But MK needs people like him, especially because the constitution of MK protects the leader, Jacob Zuma. So no matter what these young minds do, they are not going to leave. But the FF will soldier on after him. And in this clip, I do not want to talk about, how do I put it? I don't want to talk about the merger between MK and EFF, because it's natural. If you leave EFF, you go to MK, because your politics are just one thing. Floyd speaks about many rooms being similar. If you ask people, you put them in different rooms. MK people, you just take a checkbox, you ask them, they will just produce the same party. And that's why these people are the same. Ponani left ANC to join MK because you can only do that, or ANC. But be that as it may, please tell me what you think about it. It's been a long one. I certainly enjoyed listening to the young man. Like I said, the same reason I love Julius Malema, I love this young man. The same reason I love MK is the same reason that I wish MK, ANC, and EFF the same goodwill for them to survive for the betterment of Africa. Martian political incorrect. Let me leave it. I don't want to expand it because I've done it many times. Thank you.